the MVP Ventures program application form. Let's have a look at what needs to be done. So this is online through Smarty Grants, so highly recommend downloading this application offline and put it into a Word document so everyone can work on it, and you can do your spell check, your grammar, and copy and paste from other applications. So let's have a scroll through and see what we can find that jumps out at us. Blah blah blah, scrolling on, tick tick tick, read, yep, read all that. Okay, so let's see what we need to provide. Accountant declaration, so that basically says that everything you're saying is true. So you've got your turnover, you've got your staff number, eligible validating entity. So basically someone else saying, yeah, you have got disrupting technology. So obviously the government doesn't have experts in each of the fields or your industry, so it needs someone independent to validate that. So, and here we have the financial statements. So make sure you've got under the $1 million, and you've got the under the 20 full-time equivalents. It doesn't say how long they need to be there for. So you may need to drop a staff member and put them onto as a contractor. Doesn't say you can't do that. So evidence of match funding. So print off your bank statement, financial or investor agreement, shareholder agreement. So what I normally say is start with the bank first. The bank is the easiest because it's money, cash in the bank. Anything else away from that adds elements of risk. So you can still use these other two, but if you've got that, print that off first. If you get the grant, you can then use whatever money you want. You can go and ask, go to a VC, go to private equity, and then ask for that money, or go to a bank and ask for that down the track. But just start off with money in the bank. Okay, pitch deck. That's pretty simple. I might do a sample of what that might look like and an online video. So review this, and then if you follow back to the website on my blog page, you might see some templates for these things as well. Okay, scrolling on. Okay, there's the boring stuff, contact name. Yeah, boring. Okay, brief describe the organisation and what they do. No more than 250 words. So, we are bullet point, and we help companies get grants from the government. Pretty simple. You may want to talk about, some patents you've got, some cool tech, how you're disruptive. Compare yourself to other things in the industry, where they're Airbnb for lawnmowers, whatever it may be. They're going to do a company check, make sure you've got a company, but you guys should know that. Just more tick boxes, GST, Indigenous owned, tick boxes, turnover for the current year, obviously can't be less than $1 million, sorry, more than $1 million, and accountants. Okay, that's got to be less than 20, obviously. Upload a company payroll, so they're going to double check the payroll report. I'm not sure what happens if you have just gone over or you went under, because the payroll report will still have the people on there. So I need to think about if you need to work around that one. If you're going to be over 20, I would say let it go, because there's going to be so many other companies that are applying for this that they'll just knock you out. But there may be workarounds. Okay, once of that. Okay, but better describe the business and what it does. We sort of covered that. So what you develop, what you sell, what's your cool tech. Look up the ANZIC code, and the country. No, I was looking for. You've got to be in New South Wales. Don't try to squeeze into this if you're not in New South Wales. Okay. Boring. Are they asking these questions over and over again? I think it's part of multiple questions, but because when I print this off, it expands it all out. Okay, let's get to the good stuff. Scrolling on, turnover. Okay, FTEs. Okay, parent holding company. Boring. We're getting there. I just printed 5 pages of the same thing. Okay, partner organisations. Don't partner with people. It just keeps it simple. Adds risk. Don't add risk. Applied for received funding. Well, you won't have done that because the program's only just opened. And you've been knocked out. So if you've been knocked out, there's a reason, but you've been knocked back. So you're probably best to get external help at that point in time, because you're unlikely to get it again. unless you significantly deviate from what you were doing previously. Project title, give it something cool. Well, commercialization, there's a few examples that I gave in another video, but commercialization of the solar powered EV charger, or commercialization of the spacesuit, whatever that was. Okay, briefly describe the project. So, in the spacesuit example, we are going to take our, trademark, spacesuit name from a TR level 3 to a TR level 9. We're going to, take over the world, and we've got demand in the USA for this product, and we estimate forecast sales, in 2024 of $1 million. The key elements, how many words? We've got 100 words. You're probably going to get much more than that. So 100 words, you may want to put a comment around what is in the TRL you're going to do. So you might be validating some component of it. So, we're going to be validating the spacesuit from 100 degrees to 300 degrees. Something like that. Start date, end date. Make it a nice, the 1st of the month and finish at the 30th of the month. It's just easier when you map everything out. I often do, 1st of July or 1st of January to the end of the year. It's just easier when you do everything. Total project cost. I find that cost doesn't really come into it. If you've got a good project, don't put in 99999. It doesn't really matter. Just put in what you think it's going to do, that you need. If you ask for 200 grand or 400 grand, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day, I've found. If they like you, they like you. So, go for it. Product, process, service. Service is going to be a hard one. Normally the product is what's going to win it. The more you look like a physical device, the better. Actually, the ones that were in the examples were all physical devices. I guess software as a service, unless you're going to call it that. But once again, still call it a product. Yes, you're going to be commercialising. Project address, it's going to be New South Wales. Don't do anything that's overseas. Are you able to get sufficient funding? These are just gotcha questions. Of course you got the money. Why sufficient funding can't be accessed? I've got a secret little phrase that I use in all applications for that. Hit me up if you want that one. So, if you've got a $5 million in the bank, they're going to ask the question, why you don't use that $5 million if you're going for $1 million project? There are workarounds for that. Hit me up if you want that little secret tip. Match funding. So once again, get the cash. Okay, so provide evidence for that. Okay, assessment criteria. Once again, assessment. Why are you assessing? Normally, if it's non-competitive, you are either eligible or not eligible. So if your TRL is 3 to 9, yes, you're ticked in. Highly innovative. Here we bring in subjective level. So I think it's still competitive. So you're going to need to be really cool, really high tech. Try to be a product. That's what's going to get it. If you've received funding in the past, that's what's going to get it. Briefly describe interview product. So the questions, you have to be very succinct in your responses here. So often I have to condense, and it's very hard to condense, lots of text down into a small amount and be succinct and able to get it across the line. So you're going to need to be a wordsmith. I'll put something in the blog about this, how I actually condense a large slab of text to get more across. To describe more than just waffling. Okay, is your product new technology? I think you want to go and say yes. Yes, you want to say that. Innovative redesign, you don't really want to say that. And innovative redesign, I think that's as cool. Try to be the first two. That's where you want to be. Okay, you have ownership IP. They don't talk about whether it's trade secrets. They don't. Documentation. Right, what would you apply? Yeah, you put in an IP strategy around a trade secret and how you're not going to disclose it. Very few are going to have a patent. So commercialisation, right? Yeah, don't be that one either. Unless you're a university, spin-off, maybe that one fits in there. But generally, own the IP, and you're going to need to have a strategy. I'd actually put a document in there how you're going to keep it a trade secret if it's that, or talk about algorithms, something that others, if you're software, others can't replicate. Is a product or process something being offered to customers by you in another jurisdiction? I'd want to go no on that one. If you're already selling it, that's a big no-no. If you're, and when I say jurisdiction, I'd look up, like, is that interstate? What about if you are just trialing the product? You can be trialing it. That would be a good thing. The lower you can make the risk for people buying the product or the government proving the viability, the better it's going to be. Okay, so put in a pitch deck, online video. So once again, why do they need that? If it's just based on eligibility or non-competitive, they shouldn't actually need that, but they're going to validate it. So what else have we got here? Size of the potential market. So talk about the value, talk about, come up with a dollar figure, come up with how many people use it, value created by the product. So talk about competing products, what it costs for a competing product, or a lower tech or not as good solution. Talk about that. Competitive advantage. So you're going to know about this disruptive tech. So, for that EV, so the solar-powered EV charger, you could say most, basically all solar power, all EV chargers at the moment are mains powered. So yours provides a gap in the market. But for that solar product, how are you unique in that others can't copy it? So there's plenty of others out there. I think they were just first or very early on. I haven't researched the company enough to know what cool tech they've got or what IP they've got to stop others doing that. But it sounds cool. I haven't heard of anyone else doing it. So try to be cool like that. Describe the market that you propose. Obviously with the EV, there's a big market for EVs now, and getting mains powered in regional locations is hard. So if you can have standalone satellite EV chargers, that's going to be great. The market research or evidence, for the EV market, you would say how many cars are being sold per year. That number's already out there. How many EV chargers there are, wait times at existing chargers. I know that's pretty hard. So look for some good evidence. Well, we can attach a file here. One file. Does it say how many pages? Okay, if it doesn't say a number of pages, your response is evaluated by weight. So put in as much as you can. Deliver target value. Okay, that's pretty self-explanatory. Competitive advantage and why customers would buy it. So for the EV charger, I don't think the customers really care, but it's if they're in a location where there are other EV chargers, that's your competitive advantage. And your customer may be the landowner as opposed to anyone else, because that's who you're selling it to. So you want to understand the TRL level. They clearly define, where it is at each level, and then talk about, where you end up at the end of the project. Okay, detail risks and mitigating activities. So once again, there are always risks, but you can easily overcome them because have we got a attachment? We can't attach a risk assessment, but the risks are project takes too long. What do you do then? You haven't got the right staff. What happens then? You haven't got the much funding. Competitive product. 250 words. You're gonna run out of words here. Competitive product. First mover advantage. Assess those ones. There's probably the biggest ones. Then after that, you'd say access to IP. Anything that delays or slows a project is probably the biggest ones. Short bio of your project team. Once again, you want to de-risk this application, so your team is commercialised before. You've got a good, financial track record. You've got cash in the bank. You've got a CFO. You've got a good project manager, good commercialisation manager. You can get it to market. Good tech team. So someone, a project manager, tech person, financial person, they're the ones you've got to sort of tick off. Do you have any feedback on the application process? I could give you some, but we'll see. we'll see on that one. If you give the feedback after you've been rejected, then give some good feedback. Maybe put that in for your second application. Got to be in by the 1st. I think you can beat that deadline. That's pretty much it. Yeah, give it a go. Good luck with it.